Hello everyone, my name is Paul Third, and this week I want to make a very vulnerable video because I am in the midst of realising that I have depression, and I have been in and out of depression ever since I was a teenager. I am going through therapy right now, and I started on antidepressants around 3 weeks ago. I am signed off work currently as I'm dealing with a lot of the kind of trauma that I've never realised and known about myself, and really I'm diving deep into therapy weekly, and I'm having to pay for it so I could be a better person for myself and my family. Now, this is something that many people don't share because especially when you're a guy, and you're a modern man, and you've got to be tough, and you can't show vulnerability because that's a sign of weakness, and mental health isn't a thing in men. We just crack on and deal with it. And I think it's something that needs to be spoken about. Now, many of you may be wondering, this isn't what I thought I was going to click on, but there is a reason why I've decided to make this specific video. One, because I want to share more about my journey, because this is my channel, and the more I find out about myself, and the hope that I can help other people. And because today, these are finally leaving the studio, the HE1000 SE. These headphones have been very special to me for a long time, but the issue is that I've realised recently that the reason that they've been so special to me is for the wrong reasons. And it's because I have allowed equipment and gear to become part of my identity and how I see myself. More importantly, how others see me. And it's amazing how it's kind of just taken all of this kind of self-reflection that I'm doing just now to sit there and, look at these headphones and be like, for the longest time, these headphones were a part of me. Like the HE1000s were like, everybody knew the HE1000s and like audio engineering mostly because of me, because I was one of the only people talking about them. And, I've talked about them a lot and how they genuinely are like the dream headphones for me. In terms of like listening to music, these are the dream headphones. These are so unbelievably analytical. They're the most resolving headphones I've ever heard. They've got this immersive quality. It's almost like if I could choose a perfect pair of speakers to sound a certain way for listening to music, it would be these. However, as I've talked about a lot, there are downsides and caveats in regards to mixing on these because they aren't the fastest like the Ananda Nanos, and they show you so much detail that like your average listener isn't going to hear. And with all the separation and things that I've never heard in other mixes, kind of comes a little bit of a downside when you're mixing because you then tend to over-analyze and over-perfect things, which is what I do on these, which is why I stopped mixing on them, because I was just could never be fully done with a mix because I wanted everything to sound absolutely perfect on them, and it was like a bit of a curse. So I found other things that worked better, and that's a big thing for me, because I always felt that because the HE1000s were almost like a part of my identity and who I was, that I couldn't let go of them because then I would lose a part of myself. And that's really fucked up. And what's really fucked up for me is that there's so many people out there that use audio gear as a part of their identity, and it's like the quality of their audio equipment almost is a part of who they are, and like how much they're valued as a person is determined on the quality or the expense that they've paid for their audio equipment. Analog gear especially, I think, has a lot to blame for a lot of shitty mental health. And it's not analog's gear fault. It's an inanimate object, you know what I mean? It's just a tool at the end of the day. But I think what many people do in audio is that they wrap themselves in, expensive purchases, and it's almost as if like they can't handle themselves being a good engineer, that they need to wrap their career around analog equipment and really expensive speakers and, really like fucking big, massive rooms and instead of just getting like a normal piano, it's got to be a big massive grand piano. Or if it's a Rhodes, it's got to be a Rhodes that fucking Fleetwood Mac played on in Sim City or some shit like that. If it's a console, it's got to be a set. It's like just having an Audient console isn't enough. It's got to be Neve console from the 70s, you know what I mean? It's just kind of sad a little bit where I see the defensiveness and I see the confirmation bias, and I never really understood it until I started to look into myself, and I started to, in therapy, like I'm starting to understand that this will like surprise a lot of people. But what I'm finding is that I don't believe I deserve anything good in my life. I don't believe that I deserve to be successful. I don't believe that I deserve anybody to care for me. No matter what I do, I'll ever be good enough. And I think that's something that I think many people in the audio industry struggle with. And I see it. I see it in the way that people defend analog gear. I never understood it. It was almost like, yeah, it is better, it's better, it's better, it's better. And I sit there and I go, you need it to be better. Why do you need it to be better? And by the way, this isn't like me saying that everybody that's got like buys analog gear has got fucking bad mental health. No, that's idiotic. And what surprised me is the amount of people that's reached out to me by just genuinely 20 seconds of me saying that, yeah, I'm on antidepressants. Like the amount of people that have reached out to me and being like, yo, Paul, I really appreciate you saying you're on antidepressants. Like, I've been depressed. I've had mental health issues. I've had problems in my childhood. I've had this, that, and that. Loads of people have reached out to me. And it just shows me how much kind of shitty mental health is in audio. And it's kind of a good thing where audio can be a thing that can help many people cope. Music has been a thing where it helped me cope through a very, 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 very lonely childhood. You know, I was a very, very lonely autistic kid. And, you know, I can't change that, you know, and it has impacted me in many ways, and there's, you know, many things that's happened in my life that, you know, I'm coming to terms with it now, you know, the reason why I've been essentially self-harming, you know, for a lot. I mean, I've not been physically self-harming, in a sense I have, but, you know, I've kind of been emotionally self-harming, and I can't even admit to myself that it's physically self-harming, because what I've been doing with myself is I've been constantly working myself to the bone because I keep on striving for something that I can't feel in myself. It's like what I've learned is that external validation is important because I need other people to tell me that I'm valued. But I'm so fucked up in my own feelings of myself that what I've been doing, and I've realised this, is that a lot of the videos that I've been making in the past have almost kind of been to the point where I want negativity to happen. Like, I've made a lot of videos that are controversial, and one of the first things that I thought of when I've made the video isn't, wow, the tests are really good, and yes, it's going to educate a lot of people. The first thing I think of is, whew, this is going to be controversial. I'm going to get a lot of shit. This is going to hit gear slots, and I'm going to get a lot of fucking shit and flack for this. Immediately, I should sit there and go, why am I putting myself in that situation? Why? Why am I allowing there to be so much negativity thrown at me? And what I'm learning is it's because I almost need it. I need to be reminded that I'm a piece of shit, and that people do think I'm a piece of shit, and that I'm not good enough. And, you know, imposter syndrome is always going to be a part of me. And it's sad for me that I look at my studio and I'm proud of what I've built, but it is a little bit of a testament of how low I see myself, that I had to, you know, invest in a Dolby Atmos room and a live room, and, you know, treat the shit out of this control room and buy like fucking $5,000 fucking, you know, Kali SM8s, and go through the whole headphone journey, and like go through all these headphones and, you know, get like the best conversion chain on the market. I've been speaking to a lot of people about it, and it's crazy how in audio we live for short-lived dopamine. And this will trigger a lot of people, because many people don't want to admit that a lot of their identity and their self-worth is in the equipment that they own. But you have to admit to yourself that, yeah, whilst like the excitement of audio gear is great, right? And me and Emra were speaking about it last night, the dopamine that you get. Like, so what me and Emra do with headphones is like, we'll research it and we'll watch videos on it. And I see it in the Discord and I see it elsewhere. We get excited, and it's good to get excited as adults, because sometimes life's not that fun. But what we all know is that we could have 2 weeks getting excited and researching, and then you do the thing with the tracking where you check the tracking every day. It's coming. Oh, I missed it. I'm raging. Oh my God. Like, oh, I'm going to have to wait another 2 days for it. And then the piece of audio gear comes, and for the first hour, you're like excited. You put it in the rack. As soon as you hear what it's doing, you're lucky if it lasts another half an hour and the dopamine is completely gone. Many people could say opposite and go, no, I still get excited to use my analog equipment. I think we all know that's pretty bullshit. Like, we're adults. Like, dopamine, like, is so short-lived in audio because at the end of the day, they're just tools, right? And the reason why, right, I've decided to sell these is, for 2 reasons. One, because I realised that I don't really use them, and I'm realising that audio equipment is tools. I'm in control. It's me. I'm the mixer, and I should be proud of myself. Like, for example, the headphones that are just there, right? The Dan Clark Noir X, FIO QX13, right? I could have mixed the record that I mixed yesterday through the whole topping chain, the HE1000 unveiled, but I did it on Noir X, and I did it on this like a budget like DAC amp. That is amazing, by the way. Like, me and Emra did a review of it. But by the by, I did the mix and I got the feedback from the client today. Version 1 approved. And the feedback was, Paul, I spent ages on this production and I feel that this is in such a much better place, and I feel better about the production that I slaved over because of the work that you did. That is more important than anything else. Now, I could sit there and say, oh, it was down to the Noir X. It wasn't down to the Noir X. It was down to me and the decisions that I made. The decisions that I made to make that track sound a certain way. Because that is why this client comes to me. And he comes to me quite a lot because he likes the way that I make records sound. And the main reason that I decided to just mix on those is because I wanted to remind myself that it's about me. Now, by the way, it's still £1,000 pair of close-back headphones. There will be a review on mix phones. But I wanted to prove to myself that I don't need all this stuff to get a record approved and to make somebody else happy. Like, for however long this is going to be, I have made somebody else, my client, feel good about themselves, good about their record, and I've given them a bit of dopamine. And I think what I've learned, and I'm slowly learning it, is the importance of people. And, so another reason that I've decided to sell these is because I'm way to use the money for NAMM. So when I went to NAMM in LA, was that 3 years ago? Around that, 2 or 3 years ago, I walked away from it, and the thing I said was it was all about the people. And I have great memories from NAMM, and I made a lot of friends at NAMM. And it was amazing how much better I felt about myself, because it wasn't about the studio, it wasn't about the gear, it was about me as a person. And okay, it's difficult for YouTubers because you know that many people want to speak to you because you're a YouTuber and they watch you and blah, blah, blah. But, I was in, certain parties and places where there were other YouTubers, and then, we're on the same level playing field. And, I could tell that people just liked being around me for me. And that feels good, but it's hard to accept it. And that's something that I'm finding with myself, that I kind of always need the negativity because I need to remind myself that I'm not good enough and I am a piece of shit. And, even the fact that, I don't feel anything when I say that, it's like, yeah, I am a piece of shit. And sometimes I need reminded of that. But what's weird is that what I do is I know it's self-harm because then I protect myself in the comments. So what I'll do is I'll make something and then it's like I just then defend myself to the hilt, where it's like, no, you're fucking wrong. How fucking dare you say that? No, you say that's bullshit. No, here's the science behind that, and that. And many people have got this thing, on YouTube, and many people know that I find it hard to be wrong. And I find it hard to be wrong because it's basically, my identity has become about knowledge, because that's how I see myself. In audio, I see myself as like ChatGPT, and nobody really wants to know me because of me. They want to know the autistic audio geek that's going to teach them, who's going to save them money, who's going to tell them the right fucking audio interface to pick. It's going to tell them the right speaker to pick. It's going to tell them if a headphone's shit or not. It's like nobody actually gives a shit about me. It's just all about knowledge. and it's all about how many subscribers I've got, and it's all about, how other people think of me. And I think many YouTubers do struggle with that. And, there's a video that's a way to come out on the Working Audio Tools podcast where me and Ed go into it. Like, we recorded it last week, and I'll be out on Saturday. But I think it's very important to remind yourself that you are good enough, and you don't need to go spending like stupid amount of money in the modern day age. At the end of the day, I mean, like my good friend Emre Celik, right? He made billions of records, like billions of streams, sorry, not billions of records, but he had billions of streams on records he'd mixed and mastered on Hyphem and Sundara. You could pick them up for like 220 quid, and he put it through, and he was mixing through an RME ADI2. You don't need to go spending tons of money, especially in the modern day age where you've got like the topping DX5 Mark II Sundara. Again, the Ananda Unveiled is something that, is doing quite well just now in the Discord. And I see it on the Discord all the time where it's like I see people get FOMO and they get like, oh, do I need to upgrade? Do I need this? Do I need this? Do I need that? And it's difficult because, at the end of the day, like, music is still a hobby. And the reason that I do the headphone stuff is because I genuinely do enjoy it. I do genuinely enjoy listening to other headphones and getting the right EQs for them and seeing how they translate. And it's a bit of a hobby for me. So I still do it because I enjoy it. And I do love educating people. And I do love, how I can help people to save money. And because I think that a big part of me that I'm realizing is that another big reason that I made a lot of the videos that I've made in the past is because I felt that external pressure of you're not good enough unless you have a console, unless you have this, unless you have this, unless you have that. And there was a big stigma for me, and it annoys me that I caved in. Of course I caved in. Look at everything I've got now. Like the Kali SM8 in this completely fully fucking treated room that I've spent ages on in a big fucking Atmos room that's now been fully calibrated from fucking Kali themselves. Fucking Nate flew all the way from LA to do it. I mean, it's like I caved in, and, I kind of felt like I've always had to fight against that confirmation bias that other people have. But I'm now coming to a point where I'm at the other end, but shit that I'm at the other end because I've got all this stuff and nobody can really challenge me because I'm like, well, I've got this mic and I've got that and I've got this conversion, I've got that. It's like, there isn't really anything that people could make me feel shit about, really. But when I was in my bedroom, it did get to me, like the Paul Third home hobbyist thing. People did it because they knew it got to me. But really, I just should have been a little bit more mature, and I should have just, dove into the headphone thing. And I would have loved, to be in the position that I'm in now, where, I was getting paid clients, because it wouldn't have changed. I could have been in my bedroom and still got these paid clients, because at the end of the day, the result is the most important thing. It doesn't matter if I mix on these fucking $5,000 pair of speakers and Angry Boxes, and I go through the live room and listen on the heads, or I do the HE1000 or the headphones too, or the fucking Hyphen Varna, or the HE1000 SEs, Noir X, the fucking Sendy Peacocks, or I go into another studio. It doesn't matter. The result is all that matters. And there is, like, the mixes that are on my website are, all that people have to go on. And what's important for you to understand is that people are the most important. That's the reason why I'm deciding to sell these, to go back to NAMM, because look, these aren't going to these aren't going to make me feel better about myself. These kind of give you a hug at night and tell you that you're okay and you're safe and that you're a good person. This is just, you're just going to listen to stuff on your fucking own and be even more lonely. I mean, Ed told me this stat, and it's crazy, that I think between like the ages of 18 to 35, 40 or whatever, the main cause of death in men is suicide. That's fucking crazy. That's crazy that so many men are going through such tough mental health struggles that they think suicide is the only option because they can't deal with the insecurities that they've got in themselves. Being a man sometimes is a shit fucking thing, especially when you're brought up in working class environments and generations of that same kind of mentality of, got to be a man's man, you got to be strong, and you got to go out and you got to earn the money, and you got to work your balls off to make more money, you got to have a better house, and you got to have a fancy car, and you've got to fucking Christmases just get bigger and bigger and bigger, and the expectations of, I want you to be better than what I was. All of these things that many people don't understand. There's a lot of these things in men that are ingrained in us. Every gender, no matter who you are, there's these internal pressures that we all grow up with. And especially, I'm finding with millennials, like people born in the 80s and the 90s, we are kind of, sometimes I feel like we're kind of the last generation that have still got this work ethic where we work ourselves to the bone and we don't really know why, but it's because it's what we do. And we're taught you don't speak about your feelings. Kids are meant to be seen and not heard, and you don't speak about your feelings, you don't cry. Like my therapist is she's getting emotional with the stuff I'm telling her about me, and she's like, Paul, how does that make you feel? And I'm like, nothing. I don't feel anything. Like, I've got a Discord with over like 300 paid members. It doesn't sink into me. 25,000 or whatever subscribers it is, 26, whatever, 1,000 subscribers, doesn't sink into me. I have had some of the nicest comments where people have said, Paul, I'm being serious. If you're ever in this part of the world, there's a bed for you. That's genuinely how much people kind of care for me as a person, but I struggle to see that. Like, again, Tura Medina, for example. I don't speak to Tura as much as I probably should. I remember he reached out to me a long time ago, and he was like, Paul, anything you need, just give me a shout. And I've always felt this thing where many people have reached out to me, and I don't, it's like if I reach out to them, it's almost like I have to accept that they accept me. And that's really hard for me to accept that people accept me, especially people that I view up here. So it's really difficult when I have big engineers, and there've been, trust me, a lot of big engineers I've never mentioned that have reached out to me and said, Paul, anything you need, any question you want, just give me a shout. And I never do. And it's something that I need to get over, and it's something that I need to embrace. And I need to really embrace people when they take a time out their day to say, yo, bro, I love what you're doing, and I love you as a person, man. And honestly, I'm here for you. Like, I'm here to help you. And I need to start, reaching out and saying, know what? I want to take your help. Thank you so much. And, sensei, teach me. You know what I mean? But it's not even just about that. It's about, gaining a personal relationship. Like me, Ed, and Emra, the reason I'm so tight with these boys is because, they make me feel safe at the end of the day. Like, they make me feel cared for. But at the same time, I never, ever, ever turn round to them and say to them, yo, guys, like, how are yous today? Like, honestly, like, how are yous, like, getting on just now? I keep things very audio-based because that's the way I am. I don't speak about feelings. Because if I ask them how they're doing, they'll ask me how I'm doing, and then that feels weird. Honestly, it's hard for me to even say thank you for things. I'm really terrible at showing gratitude because I'm realising that I don't think I deserve to be treated kindly. And that's why, for the longest time, I used to bring all the negativity onto myself. And, I had to teach myself not to go onto these forums, because if I look hard enough, there's a lot of horrible shit said about me. And I was seeking that. And it was almost like I took a little bit of pleasure in it, and it's fucked up in itself. But it was because it would kind of confirm the cycle that I've got, that I'm a piece of shit and I'm not good enough, and I've got to prove myself to other people. And it's just a shame that I can't be happy in myself. And I think what's important is that many people look at YouTubers like me, they look at all the stuff that I've managed to get them fucking wangle for free. And many people are like, I'd fucking love to have Paul Third's life. I've got all this and I'm still fucking depressed. I'm depressed. I have cyclical depression. It comes in waves. And no piece of audio equipment's ever going to give me enough dopamine or enough happiness and contentment to last more than half an hour. I find it difficult, to sit and play with my kids. I find it difficult to accept love from people, and I genuinely think that everybody's going to leave me all the time because I had such a lonely upbringing and stuff. And, it's like, this is really vulnerable what I'm doing just now. And, I'm not doing it, and because there are going to be trolls out there that'll be like, I'm going to jump on him and this is great. And honestly, like, I want you to take 1 second right now. If this is making you happy, then you seriously need to take a look in the mirror right now, because you're not okay right now. If you're taking so much happiness out of the trauma of other people, and you want to create that trauma and make it even worse, you need to go to fucking therapy, and you need to look at yourself, because you're needing other people to feel shit because you don't feel good in yourself. And that's what I'm finding a lot in the audio world. And there's just so much fucking bad mental health, and I get it. Audio YouTubers don't help. Again, I review stuff, but that's why I'm so particular about what I do showcase, and I only showcase stuff that I am actually using, which, unfortunately, is the reason why this is going. It's crazy when I look at them because I don't want to kind of let go of them. Because I remember when I first got them, it was like I felt really good about myself because I was like, yeah, I've not got the Sandaras anymore. It's like, fucking suck my balls. Suck my audio engineering balls. I've got like fucking £1,600 headphones, arguably one of the best sounding headphones on the planet. Who's the fucking chump now? When at the end of the day, I had somebody on my Discord put a mix on the Discord, $99 FIO Jade Audio JT7 mix sounded translated great on my phone. Somebody else on the Discord said, yeah, great mix, dude. $100 headphones through a topping DX5 too. He's learning the headphones as well, and he got a great mix out of it. And I'm in a place now where I'm like, fucking proud of you, man. Like, good on you, man. Good on you for like getting the most out of the budget that you can and making it work. Proud of you. And you know, it's difficult for people because, again, look, if you're going to do speakers, you do have to invest in your room. There's certain things that you do have to spend money on in audio, right? There's no point trying to make a solid career in audio and, you know, not getting the right translation. But that's when it comes to seeing things as tools. Like, I don't see my acoustic treatment as something like my two GIK bass soffits. I don't see them as like a part of me. It's like the room is a part of Paul Third. They're just two bass soffits which help bring the sub decay down in the room. Like my GIK vocal booth. It's not a part of me. It's just the vocal booth that I use to give me dead recordings. Again, the Austrian Audio OC818, it's just a microphone that I use on certain vocalists. But what is part of me is when I've got somebody in the booth, how I make them feel, how I'm able to get them in a place where they're so underconfident, but then they get to a point where we get a full, you know, a vocal take done, and they're like, oh my God, I feel better about myself. I had Christy in from Fife, and, you know, me and Billy Mitchell, who I'm doing a lot of production with now, we had her in the booth, and, you know, we spent the whole session, you know, really just with her in the booth and going, let's try this and try that and try this and try that. And at the end of it, you could see she was a little bit emotional, where she was like, wow, I didn't even know a lot of these kind of voices were in me, and I'm singing in ways that I didn't think I would ever sing, and I would perform in ways I didn't think I would perform before. And, you know, like, I did that. Like, I helped somebody do that. You know what I mean? Like the feedback I got today, I've made somebody feel better about something that they slaved at. And I think that's why it's so important that we put so much more investment into people. If you've got like a big fucking Fairchild compressor sitting there, and you know that you could get a cheaper version, or you could just use the plugin, you're like, I can get 12 grand for that. You can go and spend that money on taking your kids on a fucking once-in-a-lifetime holiday and creating memories. Because at the end of the day, when you go, the gear's still going to be in the rack, right? It's not going to live on. It's just a piece of equipment. It's just tubes, circuitry. Where, like, with your kids, you can, like, leave memories that will last a lifetime. Like, when me and my kids went, and my wife went to Malta on holiday, they still talk about it. If you ask my girls, what was the best day in your life? It's a day that we had as a family. It's not about, like, oh, I remember when I got this gift or that gift, or I got this or I got that. Christmas is coming round the corner. The girls are so fucking excited, right? So excited. And they'll be excited when they get their presents. But then see, and we all, as parents, you know what it's like. Give it a week. The thing that they wanted for months and months and months doesn't get touched. It's like, I thought you wanted that. Yeah, I got excited for a day, and then they play with it every so often. But, you know, you take them out for a day, or you go for a weekend, or again, we go to centre parks every year. Those are the things that they remember. They remember, oh, like, honestly, my youngest daughter, Genevieve, she just constantly talks about this day where we were in a field and I was just being silly. She's like, I remember when Dad, he was being silly, and he was diving about the fields, and he was so funny and so silly. Those are the things that your kids really appreciate, right? Money, yeah, I get it. It's a tough climate, and you need to keep a roof over your kids' heads. And as a man, you know, you do have that fucking financial pressure, you know, to fucking bring home the bacon, and you want your kids to have nice things. You want your wife to be again, as men, I don't know anybody that actually wants their wife to work. Like, my wife has a lot of health issues. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful woman. Like, honestly, like, beautiful inside and out. But yeah, it's a shame that inside she's just got so much, health issues. And if I could click my fingers and just say, look, you don't need to fucking work, then, I would work to the bone to do that. But even still, she's like, Paul, I still want to do stuff. I still want to have holidays. I want to spend time as a family. And, sometimes you do have to put a bit of work to be able to do that. But if you're sat in your studio, and this is the thing that I speak to a lot of engineers, they're like, there's a reason why we do have big, like, extravagant holidays, is because we are sat in this studio 3 mixes a day, 2-3 mixes a day. Like, you're in this windowless box sometimes for, 10, 12, 14, 16 hours a day. And you're doing it day in, day out. And sometimes you just need a break. And that's why sometimes they'll go on 5-week fucking holidays and all expenses paid, just fucking go on a big massive blowout. Because the audio world is pretty unforgiving at times. And, many people say, Paul, why do you want this career? Many people say this to me in the industry. They're like, Paul, you've got time to spend with your kids. Why are you putting all this time? Why are you working a day job and a podcast and mix phones and your own channel and your studio and building an Atmos room and doing all the mixes and the mastering and trying to get into fucking Dolby Atmos and all this stuff that you're doing in your Discord? Why don't you just spend time with your kids, Paul? You've got the time that I wish I had. And I think sometimes that's something that you've got to think of as well, is that life is about experiences. And you'd be amazed that when you just go away and fuck off someplace on holiday, you'll meet people, and those people may leave a lasting impression on you. And the way I see it is, when I go on holiday with the girls, I have 2 weeks or 10 days of pure enjoyment. The dopamine stays, where, I could go and get, again, I've got the Fairchild grandchild fucking heritage audio thing that I use all the time. It's a tool to me. I could go out and try and spend money on an original Fairchild. And I could say to people, I've got an original Fairchild. I've got the one that was used on fucking whatever fucking Beatles record. The money that would cost for me to buy, I could get so much life experiences for that, instead of having just an inanimate fucking tube fucking compressor, a very new tube compressor that, has got history behind it, but it's not my history. That's got its own history. And it's just a record, it's a part of a record. The Fairchild doesn't make the Beatles the Beatles. It's the Beatles that make the Beatles the Beatles. The people behind it. Let me see how long that's been. 42 minutes. Right, okay, that's enough. That's enough, right? As I said, I didn't know. I was going to press record and I was going to just do it. So, there you have it. I don't know fucking how anybody's going to take this video, but there you have it. I've said my piece. This is what I'm thinking just now. This is the journey that I'm going on just now. I'm going to try and make more content to try and hopefully make this place a bit more of a safer environment for people to feel better about themselves. So honestly, just, get the best that you can with your money. Do your research, which is always important because you don't need to spend a lot of money if you research correctly. Do the research, do the diligence, do the hard work, and practice. The more you practice, the better you'll get, and you'll be amazed at how much great output you can put out by just practicing and believing in yourself. The reason that I got this version 1 sent through and passed through today is because of me and my experience and the practice that I've put in to be better at this craft. No YouTube video has made me a better engineer. I've made myself a better engineer. Always remember that. You are good enough. Just invest the time in yourself. So there you go. My name's Paul Third, and I'll see you whenever I see you.